Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're checking out the Greenleaf Studios Resident Evil Ada Wong 1/4 scale resin statue. So as you guys can see, I have both versions of the statue. So we have the first release, which as you guys can see, the dress piece is made out of fabric. And of course we have the second release, which is entirely made out of resin, which is what we're going to be checking out today. So I will have a full comparison review on both of these statues in case you guys want to check it out. It will be on the channel. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for checking out this review. And let's go right ahead and get into the video. Alright, stay tuned guys.
Take it slow.
Okay, so first up, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So yeah, for the most part, the packaging on both of the statues are pretty much the exact same. So here we have the front, we have a super nice photo of the statue itself. We have Zombie Crisis Huntress AD, and this is obviously not an official piece by Capcom. Anyhow, here we have the Greenleaf Studios logo, and here at the side we have, down here, the GLS007, which is the second release. And here we have the back, so once again we have a pretty nice photo of the statue itself, and we have the credits on the making of the statue. So that is a quick look at the packaging. Okay, and so here is the statue, and guys, I've got to say, this is such a nice piece. I mean, this has got to be one of the greatest statues that I've ever picked up. I mean, just every single bit of detail, all the paint, the pose, it's just absolutely perfect on this piece. I really think Greenleaf Studios makes some of the best resin statues out there. I've actually got like 2 or 3 of their statues, and they're some of my favorites. So as you guys know, this is the second release of the statue. So just in case you guys are wondering why they made 2 versions of the same statue. Basically the first version was sold out instantly. I mean, it sold out pretty quick within a matter of days, which was pretty insane. So basically they released the second version just to allow more people to pick up the statue. And yeah, as I mentioned before, it's pretty much the exact same statue, apart from the fact that it is made entirely out of resin. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, in terms of the detail and the paint, it's pretty much the exact same statue, so I wouldn't worry too much about which one to pick up. They're both fantastic pieces. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the statue. And let's begin with the side of the face. And I mean, look at that face. What a beautiful head sculpt. This has got to be like one of the best head sculpts that I've ever seen. I just love everything about it. And I love the fact that it's so crisp and clean. You can just make out every bit of detail. The paint job is also pretty nice. As you can see, her eyes are painted a very light brown, and they've even added a tiny bit of gloss in there. As for the nose and the mouth, they're also pretty nicely sculpted, and the lips are painted like a very deep red, which is very fitting for the character. And as for the hairpiece, I mean, you can see like all the individual strands of hair just so intricately sculpted in there. It's also got like a very matte finish, which I quite like. I think it works well for this piece. And so as for the skin tone, so I think the skin tone is pretty good. As you can see, it's a very pale color, but certain areas, such as like the joints, are painted almost like a deep red, which, you know, I think works pretty well. It just adds a very nice contrast to the overall statue, and you can really make out like the muscle definition through the paint job. So I think the paint job is pretty good. I know some people didn't like the fact that her skin gives off like this kind of red tone, but in my opinion, I think it works well, and yeah, I wouldn't change anything about it. I think it looks good the way it is. But anyhow, here's a look at the side of the body piece and the arms. And so as you can see, we have these black bands across her arm. And then yeah, these are made of real fabric, and they're super helpful because they really do help to hide the seam line. So the statue is made up of several pieces. So we have the head sculpt, the 2 arms, and the base. So yeah, these are super efficient. I think Greenleaf Studios did a really great job at hiding all the joints on the statue. So here's a look at the hand holding the sniper rifle. Here we have the barrel piece, and the scope, and the body of the rifle itself. I'm not sure of the specific name of the rifle, but it's super realistic. I mean, just every little bit of detail that they've added in there. Even like the lens, the scope is shiny. You can see it gives off a nice reflection in the lights, which I just love this attention to detail. So the sniper is a separate piece, so you have to insert it into her hands manually, which you know is pretty straightforward. Same goes for the statue. I mean, it's a very straightforward build. There's really nothing much to it, so I don't think you should have too much of a problem assembling the statue. But anyhow, here's a look at the back of the neck. We have this, it's kind of like a collar piece, like this necklace. This is actually made out of fabric, as you can see. So yeah, it's made out of fabric for both of the statues. But as you can see, the dress piece itself is resin. But yeah, here's a look. I mean, it just doesn't look as good compared to the fabric dress. There's quite a big difference, I would say, in the dress piece. But I mean, they did do a pretty good job. You can see all the folds and creases that they've sculpted in there. It looks quite realistic. And it's also pretty nicely painted. As you can see, it's painted a very deep red, but in certain areas, such as the creases in the fabric, it's painted a very dark red. So you know, I just think it gives off a nice contrast. And here's a look at the leg piece. And we have the heels. So basically there's a peg which runs down from the foot into this piece of metal. And there's also another peg on the base of the other foot, which runs into the actual base itself. As you can see, my peg didn't fit that well into the base. I really don't know why, but I don't want to force it into the base because I just don't want to risk breaking the statue. So I may have to fix it sometime soon. And so as for the base, so the base is pretty nice. It's pretty big, as you can see. It's also pretty heavy. This is probably one of the heaviest bases that I've had for any of these resin statues. But yeah, it really does help to support the statue, so yeah, I really don't mind too much. But anyhow, let's take a quick look at the base. So we have this piece of metal. It looks like some type of like structure, like a broken building. I really don't know. But anyhow, here's a look at the road. Like all these pieces of concrete. It looks really, really cool. And at the bottom we have all this dirt, like all this mud and gravel. It's also quite nicely sculpted. As you can see, it's got a pretty nice texture. It looks quite realistic. So the base is also made of like 3 pieces, and it's all held in place by magnets, which are pretty sturdy. And of course we also have our the little card of authenticity, just to say the number. So we have, let me see here. So I got number 480 out of 680. Okay, so let's take a look at the statue from the front. And I mean, what an amazing shot. I mean, check out that angle. I mean, this is such a photogenic piece. Whatever angle you look at it from, it's just so nicely made, which is why I love the statue. But yeah, here's a look at the head sculpts. I feel pretty lucky that I have this piece. I know this is a pretty rare and sought after statue now, so I'm just happy to have it. And yeah, it's probably one of my favorite statues now. But anyhow, here's a look at the front of the sniper and the chest piece. Moving down here to the legs, and the other leg with the holster with a pistol, which of course you cannot take out. And so this is the other side of the statue, and we have a pretty nice look at the hairpiece with all the strands of hair sculpted in there. And as I mentioned before, it's got a pretty matte finish. Moving down here to the arm holding the sniper rifle, and I guess this is a better look at the little black piece of fabric which helps to hide the seam line. Let me just give you guys a close-up on the sniper rifle itself. Check out all these details. So we have like the bolts, the dials, whatever you want to call them, it's just so nicely detailed. I especially love the scope. It's really nicely done. And here we have the rest of the sniper and the barrel. So as you can see, even her fingernails are painted pink. And they're also kind of glossy. So I just love this attention to detail. And so moving down here to the body piece. And here's a look at the chest. And once again we have all these folds and creases sculpted into the fabric, which you know I think looks pretty realistic. I really love all these tiny attentions to detail. Like even the stitching work at the side of the dress piece. like the seam line. It just looks really nice and fairly realistic. But yeah, that's a look at the chest piece. And moving down here, we have I guess like the back of the dress piece itself, with all these nice folds draping down here. So at the side of her leg, we have this holster to hold the pistol, which of course is sculpted directly onto the statue, and you cannot take the pistol out. But yeah, it is pretty nicely done. So let me just give you guys a quick look at the pistol and the holster. Check out all those details. So these are straps running across her leg. These are made of real fabric, so I just thought that was a pretty cool detail. But anyhow, here's a look at the other leg. And we have the heels, and I guess moving down here to the base. So once again, we have this piece of metal. We have the other heel. Also, this string piece across her foot is made of real string. Once again, pretty nice attention to detail. And this is a look at the base from this side. It's pretty much the exact same. And so this is the back of the statue, just in case you guys want to check it out. So here's the back of the hairpiece. It's not just completely painted black. There's a kind of like silver highlights in there, which I think looks pretty realistic. And then I guess the tips of the hair are pretty spiky, pretty pointy. So here's the back of this here collar piece, or this necklace, whatever you want to call it, which goes all the way down here, and the back of the arms. So as for the dress piece, I mean, I guess it's pretty smooth. There's really not much texture here. I mean, you can really see the exposed peg joints, which I really don't like, but as I mentioned before, I just don't want to force it in there, because I really don't want to break the statue. But anyhow, here's a look at the back of the base. And of course, once again, we have the card, which kind of acts as like the certificate of authenticity. So yeah, there's a look at the statue from the back. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a quick comparison at all of these Greenleaf Studios Resident Evil statues which I have in my collection. So let's take a look at what we have here. So first up, we have the first release of Ada Wong. So this is the GLS006. So yeah, such a nice piece. This is probably my favorite statue out of the three. I mean, as I mentioned before, it's pretty much the exact same statue, apart from the fact that the dress piece is made out of fabric, and it's also cast off. Next up, we have the very first statue which I ever picked up from the Greenleaf Studios. So this is Claire Redfields, which I mean, such an amazing statue. This is equally as nice as the Ada Wong. I mean, the head sculpt alone and just the overall sculpt is just so nicely done. And next up, we have the statue which you guys just seen. So this is the second release of Ada Wong, the GLS007. I also forgot to mention that the dress piece is actually a lot different from the first release. As you can see, we have all of these patterns along the dress piece, whereas on the second release, it's pretty much just plain. It's just a flat red design. There's no patterns whatsoever. So yeah, that is a pretty big difference, I would say, between these two statues. I would say this is almost better than the Ada Wong. I mean, look at the eyes are painted like such a nice bright blue, and just the overall sculpt, so crisp and clean. Yeah, both amazing statues, and yeah, they've also got the Jill on the way. So I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up that statue, but I might, since I have the two characters to go along with Jill. So yeah, who knows, I may actually pre-order that upcoming Jill Valentine. But yeah, only time will tell. So as I mentioned before, I will have a full comparison review on both of these Ada statues on the GLS006 and the GLS007. So yeah, if you guys want to check out that video, then it will be on my channel. But yeah, anyhow guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope it was helpful. I will have a lot more videos on the way, so be sure to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these reviews. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care, stay safe, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Alright, take it easy guys.